Oh, look who it is, Mr. J Sploosh in the chat.
Yeah, dude. I'm in Columbus still, so there's that. Actually,
Mr.
might
J.
as well talk about that now. So we'll
Oh,
kick podcast off with some intro. Tell you guys the situation. So Ben flew in yesterday. Obviously, he had a whole day. If you guys were following him on the TL,
took me 10 fucking hours to
yeah,
get
bro.
from Columbus to here.
So he had a hell day. I actually had an early flight out of here. Most of the other Columbus town are like flying a little bit later today. So I get to the airport like 8:15, and like, there's a travel advisory on the app, but like nothing was canceled, nothing. As soon as I walk into the airport, I'm walking over to like where I would get the tag or my bag tag. I'm all checked in and everything. I already paid for my bags, got it going. I look over and I see like 100-person line in like the assistants. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I go to my phone, flight got canceled, like literally within the 60 seconds of me walking into the airport. So
Crazy.
every flight got canceled. So I'm flying out tomorrow. Hopefully I make it. Greenside, thank you for the 54.
I'm here in Dallas. Like the snow is all starting to melt. It was really funny. A couple of funny stories. So like I walked from my hotel room. It's not too far to the FAZE office. It was a little icy, but the snow's starting to melt. I get here. They don't have shovels or anything in this city apparently. So I'm out here like we're vlogging and I'm seeing the like cowboys because the FAZE office is at what's called the Star, which is basically this complex built around the Dallas Cowboys corporate offices and practice facility.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them use like icebreakers to like draw lines on the sidewalk and then use that to like scrape the snow off. It dude is so funny. I'm sitting here like they don't own a single shovel in this city. Like that's crazy.
How much
bro.
snow did Dallas get?
And not that much, but from what I can tell, I think the issue is again because they don't have shovels or plows. Is obviously it stayed below freezing, so you get ice.
Yeah.
But like you would when you were like if you ever go to like a ski resort or anywhere where it snows a lot, like the snow, like the streets are just snow packed.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's like, because people keep driving on it, just kind of packed down. So
Yeah.
it's all melting right now, though. It's actually above freezing right now. So
Good.
like, we just came back from Target. I was at Target with Wheel to Wheel, shout Tucker, and everything's starting to melt. But again, flight delays are all backed up. Everybody I know is getting delayed. Tommy's guys have gotten delayed. The Bush guys were supposed to be here yesterday. They all got delayed.
Production people too. Me and
production people.
The rest of the talent that are out here. It's really anybody, and the worst part about it is it's mainly American airline flights, and that's like the Dallas DFW hub is American, so like that makes it so much worse. So many people miss their flight. I mean, just hopefully the COD gods bless us, so everybody gets there on time, all the players are there, and all the production, everybody. But I have a feeling we'll all be good and we'll all make it in tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean there is luckily, there are a number of games that are Texas teams versus Texas teams on Thursday. So if it gets to that point, I think they can swap the schedule around a little bit. But yeah, safe travel somebody coming out here. It's just planes and people out of fucking position, and that's how you get delays.
So let's go through it. What teams are so in the winners round one? Those are the Thursday games. General mates are Dallas, right?
Yeah, Falcons are Dallas.
Falcons are Dallas.
No, Coy's
G2. Is G2 Dallas? I think they are.
G2, I think, is Dallas. So both the teams in that matchup are Dallas. And then Falcons and OpTic are both Dallas.
Yep. And then Carolina's not. Thieves are.
Carolina's already got flight delays. Before we got on, Exceed said his flight got canceled. So, like I said, at worst, if there are issues, what they'll do is...
What about Koi? They're Toronto, right? They're in Toronto?
They're Toronto. Okay. Yeah. At worst, what they'll probably do is, like, if people are getting in late Wednesday, they may just move some of the... Like move the FaZe match up or something,
Yeah, because FaZe and G2 and Riyadh and OpTic Ben are the 6 and 4:30 match. So it would just invert those, and I think everybody's chill.
Well, they're gonna want to leave. They're gonna want to leave the OpTic match as is. That's a draw match. You want that third because that's around like time where people get out of work on Thursday. So they'll try and leave that, but like the FaZe ones. Theoretically movable. I know Dan and them and the FaZe guys wouldn't want a big switch up, but they may just have to hold the L if they got to tweak it. But I think most people will be able to get in tomorrow. I think just a bigger way it'll cascade, and it's behind the scenes is just teams they got to do media tomorrow, right?
Especially
like
with the first event.
Capture.
That's where they do most of the big content for the first event. So there's a lot of moving parts here.
And then they got to do tech checks and IT, and so it may just be. maybe a weird day tomorrow, but hopefully everybody can get in like today or first thing tomorrow and like good to go for Thursday.
Yeah. So Ben, talk to me, man. Did you stop by the like venue area yet? Check everything out.
No, no, that's I'm up in Frisco because
Yeah.
you and I were supposed to shoot the pod
Yeah.
at the
Yes.
OpTic office with Hector. That obviously got canceled because you're there and I'm here. I've not gone down to the venue. From what I know about the venue, I think it'll be good. Like the setup will be good. It's a good 360 setup. Um, I think is when that building is packed and there's energy in there this weekend, I think it's going to look really good on broadcast.
Oof.
I think the watch parties will look really good. Um, and there are a couple of surprises I've heard that I think will be happening throughout the weekend. So people should stay tuned for those.
Oh yeah.
I've heard a few things.
Yeah, chat. So we were supposed to film this on the Flycast setup. Shout out to Riley and Hex and OpTic. They were gonna allow us that setup to do the Codcast. Hector was gonna hop on, but yeah, obviously flights changed that, so we'll have to run that back at some point. Maybe if Hector comes to Birmingham or something, we can get a little setup going. But nope, I'm at home. Ben's at the FaZe office, so we can run it. And today we're gonna be talking about all the teams in the winners bracket, and we're gonna be filling out a bracket as well. And there was a lot that happened these last 2 weeks, Ben. Like, I mean, the first couple weeks, couple storylines, but these last 2 weeks, we've had some huge upsets. And I want to kick things off with a positive note. Yesterday, Exceed DM me. He's like, "No podcast today," and I know he wants all the pods going because he's been balling, man. So we're gonna kick things off with Carolina. I feel like they've been the biggest story, the biggest feel good story so far. Obviously, your play slasher. They're tied for the longest win streak in the league right now. Exceed is the number one overload player. He's only played 5 matches, and he has the most goals scored, and he also has like a 1.3. He's been like legitimately unbelievable. Like he's been a top 10 player in the game, arguably, since he joined this team, and they've looked unreal. And they've shown us a bit of everything. I mean, they've beaten top teams. They've went game 5 with Thieves, where they were getting hammered back-to-back maps and had the ability to clutch up. Do you think that Carolina is a contender at this event? Where are you at with this team? What did they show you these last couple of weeks?
I think they have to be either contender or a dark horse, depending on how you look at it. I'm gonna say, to me, less on the contender side and more on the dark horse. It's not to say that I don't think they can win. Mm-hmm. I just think, unlike some of the other teams that are kind of in this winners bracket who have, played those big Sunday series on land, you have a couple of newbies here as far as the pro side that kind of haven't played those. But I really like the ball that Carolina's playing. I know we had Rambo on here last show, and I think what Ray is kind of spoken to about, in his eyes, he sees like the most optimal way to play this game is play quick and play together, and Carolina do a really good job of that in most of the modes. They make a lot of quick decisions, and there are a couple of blemishes, right? The own foreign Colossus is something to keep an eye on. But I do think that with the right draw, and if they can replicate the way they played at home on land, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina gets top 4 or top 3 at this event. But they have to not get away from their game plan, and because if they do that, they don't have the world's easiest match, winners round 1, and then you go into Friday and you can get upset, and this is a very easy way to have a hot start and get 12th at the event. We've seen it before with some teams. New York Subliners, major one a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I know they didn't make a roster change, but they were a team that was, playing good online, got to the event, and then,
No, it's very true. And it's a good point. I mean, obviously you got some players that are a little inexperienced on this team, but at the same time, they're riding a high right now. And you look at them, their map pool is looking great. Like with their last 4 searches they've won, it's all been a different map. Raid, Scar, Den, Colossus. Overload is the best in the game, arguably. Like, who's better in Overload than they are right now? I guess you could argue maybe FaZe Toronto, but like it's on par. Like Exceed has not lost one. Or he lost 1, excuse me, the LA Thieves one.
Yeah.
But before that, they had won 4 straight, and it's been Scar and Den. So they have an elite map pool across Search and Overload.
But what I will say with this team, for example, in Overload, going in, and we'll talk about their opponent in a bit, but like going into the weekend, if you're a team that potentially is facing off against Carolina, you've seen how good they looked on Scar. Why are we playing them on that map? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a team, and not every team's like this, Ant, this, there are teams that don't mind the ego shell. But if you're a team that's like, you know what, we have a deeper pool than them. We're not going to play them on their best stuff. We're not going to square with them on score overload. That's where you put them on exposure or a den, and we see how good they are. But again, across all modes, what they do effectively right now is they are not a slow team. Okay, they play quick when they need to. They play together. They force trades. They don't hero ball. They don't do ISO. If they play that way at this event, they're going to be difficult. I think to potentially take
Well,
out.
I mean, but the thing is when it comes to overload, there's just not a lot of teams that are like good on all three overload maps. You know what I mean? So they're gonna get one that they kind of like at every series, assuming like I think it's what Team B picks to overload, right? So like, and they're a pretty high seed. So Carolina are in a great spot. It's really hard to predict with them because you just don't know how like those guys are gonna perform at the major, just because of the inexperience. But for them, I guess the good thing is I don't even think they were playing their best COD in that Thieves match, and they ended up taking it. Like the first two maps were amazing, but the next two got away from them a little bit. So definitely going to feel confident at the very least going up against Thieves. I think that's probably, if not the most exciting round one, probably second most exciting round one matchup. But I love this team. I think they're only going to get better. I think that it should entice a lot of other teams to look at their pace and maybe try to match it. Because like we were talking about this in the green room a little bit, Ben. It's like with Slasher, obviously he wants to play the right way, and shout out Slasher, one of the best to ever do it. But if you're not going to be able to consistently, out strategize and outsmart, the top teams that have spent top coin on their roster, then you need to just push pace, right? Like me and Ray and you, last episode we talked a little bit about it, how like you have to play structured, but you have to keep your foot on the gas. And it's almost like both of those are equally like 1A, 1B important. And like, you can't take your foot off the gas to try to play ultra structured. And I think Carolina going that route has benefited them tremendously. So hopefully they can continue that and other teams follow suit. But let's go to the next team, Ben. Let's talk about their opponent, the LA Thieves. LA Thieves slow starts. Where do you think they stand here at Major 1? Are they a championship contender or not? Because they have lost 5 map wins in a row. And they're only a +1 margin in hardpoint, which is kind of absurd when you think about this roster.
If you want to pull up the head-to-head sheet, I set it up for you, by the way. So every tab on the head-to-head sheet should have all of the winners bracket matchups. But while you do that, I mean, my concern with Thieves coming in this event is, look, I know that they had a very nice win against Falcons, but this January has just been like, it's just been all right. And,
it's been all right.
I know a lot of people are like making a big deal about them laughing after the Carolina series. I don't know if I read too much into that. Just my concern with Thieves more so is it doesn't feel like to me that they're as locked in as some of the other top teams. And
wait, why is that though?
Well, for one, there were a couple of Ernie quotes after. I don't know if you were streaming yesterday. I saw a few clips. And just in general, the vibes I've gotten from him and other people that they've said on stream and interviews that, I think they kind of belittle this game. They think it's a very simple head smash game. They've talked about how they don't like overload. I'm not a big fan of the individual clips, but there's a lot of evidence to me that this Thieves team, I don't know if they really like enjoy playing this game. And they're already my concern coming into this season with Thieves is just, would they adapt? Would they lock in? And would they play well together? And I don't think we've seen that entirety yet. So I'm just a little worried for Thieves that they come to this event. To your point, a lot of the individual stats as far as the game modes aren't great. They're just kind of bang on average. Although I will say their search recently has been very good. So if there's one constant, the rest of the D is solid. But the respawns,
it's a problem.
Respawns, I have a bit of concern.
They don't like their map point hardpoint is awful. And then like you talk about the S&D, 3-0 on Scar, but look at the rest of it. It's exposure, raid, Colossus. And actually, I did see what you're talking about. I just hadn't put too much thought into it. It's a couple of clips of Scrap talking about like this game's a little brain dead, this and that and the third. It doesn't feel that much like different from the recent years of COD. Like this is just what COD's become with the Omni movement and how it's played. So, and also like complaining about it or phrasing it in that way is just gonna do no good for the team, especially when it's a team like LA Thieves who are just expected to win, right? But I mean, with this team, they just haven't shown me that they can be a dominant force yet. Like of all the super teams, they've definitely been the most underwhelming. You lost 2 3-0s, you came off that. Obviously, you had the win against OpTic, which is like their staple win of this split. But to win those 2 maps against Carolina and then fall in that game 5 was also concerning, because this is a team in those spots you expect to win. Like this is why you built this roster. So they're gonna get their lick back in their opportunity against Carolina. But if they lose that match, Ben, my goodness, it's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give a hot take, which is I think this Steve's team, if they play bad this major, I think it's good for them. They're to me, they come off a team that's still too high off their own supply. Like they're just not grounded in the reality of what's required from them to lift the championship at the end of the year. And the best result for them is to get knocked down a peg at the beginning of this year and realize that they have to lock in to be able to be as consistent as we think, say, Jailmates will be, or Thieves, or FaZe will be, or OpTic will be. I'm just concerned with Thieves. It's just it's right now, and they're going to play a hot Carolina team. They can lose that, and they can find their way into a weird losers bracket matchup for top 6 or top 8 that they might be on the wrong end of.
Yeah, and we'll do our bracket later to see how things could potentially shake up. But yeah, for Thieves, and then also Kenny played really good in this last weekend of matches. Like I thought he played solid. Like he gave what you would want from him, and it just still like wasn't enough, right? So I think that kind of dispels the if we replace Kenny, we'll win every series thought. I think that dispels that. So clearly there's more systemic problems in the LA Thieves camp that they need to address, and namely, like I said, their map pool. So yeah, we'll keep talking about Thieves as it goes, but big opportunity for them here. Next team to talk about is OpTic. So will the crowd buff be enough for OpTic to move past their woes? Are they not a lock for Sunday? Heard me again. Are they not a lock for Sunday? Because they have not put out extra AR in a lot of situations that we thought that they've needed them to. And only a plus 11 margin in HP, and Shotzi's 41st in damage for 10 minutes, which is very low compared to his norm. So let's get into this discussion, and I'll pull up their head-to-head, because they have a tough matchup. And in my opinion, in this match, they're the underdog. I know that that's going to be an unpopular opinion, but from what I've seen from OpTic,
are you sure? Wait, your eyes are the underdog?
Yes, in my eyes, OpTic is the underdog going into this series, 100%. The Riyadh Falcons are on a 5-game winning streak. The Riyadh Falcons have been unbelievable. We're going to talk about Riyadh Falcons in a bit. Let's focus this more on OpTic, and then we'll get to the Falcons. But from what I've seen from OpTic, especially in the last 2 games, just not been ideal. The overload has fallen off of a cliff. They lost an overload to Vancouver, which is definitely not okay. And Shotzi has not been performing. So I'll open it up to you, and let's discuss it. What do you think about OpTic, and do you think that they're a lock for Sunday still?
I don't know if anyone is necessarily a lock for Sunday. I think Gentlemates, just to be frank, I think Gentlemates and FaZe are in the best spot, I think, to get in Sunday, but I won't be surprised if there are crazy upsets in this event. My concern for OpTic is namely that if their ARs aren't frying right now, they're not getting takeover carry from their subs in the way they were at times last year. And so I think going into this event is just trying to play better team ball, especially when they're sub players. It feels like they're going rogue a little bit too much. And yeah, I mean, that's the style, that's the way they want to play, and where it might get to by the end of the year when you really know all the timings, understand when you can take those routes. But it feels like at times they're just so reliant on Brandon, Dashy, and Merc to just get 1 or 2 pieces, while their sub players, have been really good in Search, and at times in Overload and Hardpoint are really giving them not that much slaying impact. And I think, to your point, the difficulty is that they're playing a Falcons team that I think is probably very confident coming into this event.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the matchup, right, specifically, and you just look at the maps each team are strong at, and sort of the disadvantages. There's no advantage for OpTic in this one. You look at the search maps, and it's okay, Riyadh are comfortable going anywhere, and they could just veto Den, which is the map that OpTic have went to. And then you talk about the HP, and Riyadh are one of the teams that are uniquely positioned where they play Blackheart and Colossus. They're cool with that, right? And so they can just get rid of exposure, the one map OpTic's been great at, and then you have an advantage everywhere in the series if you're the Falcons. So for OpTic, to me, and if you're an OpTic fan watching this, the only way they can come in and have a repeat performance of the last couple of lands we've had is if Shotzi just completely turns the page and becomes a different player than he's been all year long. He's he's the heartbeat of this team to me. I agree with everything Ben said. Like right now, if the ARs aren't playing well, this team's not going to perform because the ARs have been in so many tough situations. Like when you go back and you watch this team, especially in their HP, just like alone a lot. Shotzi's making the usual things we say about OpTic, and it's happening again. This happens every year. So yeah, for them, they're gonna have to get better in a hurry.
Here's my double concern is we saw it a lot in Hardpoint in the beginning of January, but now we saw them play like a Scar S&D where they started doing that in Search.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, like you saw what Damon probably said on stream, and I was talking to Damon via text too, like that's where I think Damon's trying to send a message to his guys of, like, I get that in Respawn at times we're limit testing and we're maybe trying to go a little bit too risky and we're not doing that necessarily in practice, but like we can't afford to do that in S&D too. Like, so
yeah,
listen, I'm this matchup might be a gruelie. I do think OpTic to me will get like minimum fourth this event. If they come this event, they don't have a deep map pool and they get fourth, like it isn't the end of the world,
Yeah.
I don't want. I'm just trying to say, like, some weird stuff can happen in this. So to your like original question, like, are they a lock for Sunday?
Well,
again, I don't think anyone is, but
so
I'm surprised that you think that they're not the favorite in this game. Though.
So I think OpTic's going to win championships this year. One if not multiple. But I think right now this is by far the weakest OpTic's going to be, and it's because of mainly their approach to the game right now. And we talk about this every year. It just takes time for Shotzi, and he's having those problems at the moment. So I think I guess the reason I pose it this way is because I think this is one of the worst round one matchups that they could have gotten because of how good Riyadh has been at Overload and Search and Destroy. I mean, Riyadh's been besides FaZe, the best search team in the game. So like for one of the top three at least. So I just think it's a tough matchup. And if OpTic bump down to losers, who knows what can happen. But that home crowd is definitely a buff. We've seen it plenty of times. But let's jump over to the next team. We are going to be talking about the Gentlemates now. They steadied the ship, won their last two matches against Toronto and Miami. In order to win a chip, what do you think they need to do this weekend? The only massive problem on this team has been their overload, and even that's not a huge issue. So talk to me a little bit about Gentlemates and where you're at with this team, Ben.
I feel pretty good about Gentlemates coming into this event. I think they've continued to show why they're probably the best hardpoint team in the game.
Yeah.
I think the areas of concern are the S&D has just been kind of this stage. And the overload at times has been pretty poor on their end, especially in January. They looked really good at overload in December, but they've been kind of treading water in the mode in January. And we haven't seen them play exposure overload, I think, in a bit, right?
They played it. Well, no, they played it in their last match against Miami. They won 3-1.
Okay.
But they had lost three straight overloads prior to that.
Okay. So, I mean, I just think, you're a good hardpoint team, but I'm worried with Gentlemates that if they lose that map 1 this series, lose a map 3, that they can get, 3-1 out there just purely on the fact that I don't think they're like the world's best across all 3 modes. But here's the thing about Gentlemates. I like that team's ability to lock in.
Same.
I
think they get better on LAN.
Bro, they're a professional outfit.
Yes.
You guys are going to hear me use that phrase a lot this year. I use it a lot in November and December. Describe some teams I think are and aren't. And Gentlemates are one of the teams that I think is just, I'm not worried about them slacking off over the course of the season, not trying in practice. And especially when it comes to LAN event, like, getting there early, being prepared for their opponent, trying to set themselves up for success. The only other thing I'm worried about with Gentlemates is potentially a little bit of inconsistent slaying, but I think you could say that about some of the other top contenders as well. So.
From who? I guess, like, what do you mean? Like Envoy prone to the bad game? Like, because he's been playing really well, though.
Dill's been playing good recently. Dan has tailed off a little bit. Dante hasn't played particularly great in the respawns. Mm-hmm. Nep's obviously been frying. I think we have nothing. I don't have anything bad to say about Nep.
I guess it's just like you're going to get different people turning up for this team in every series. That's kind of what we've seen so far. And Envoy this last weekend was great. For them, like you said, I mean, both these teams are incredible in map 1s. They have a massive edge in S&D. Can't wait to talk about Toronto Search. But
there's a problem with this series, though, Ant. This is the one trap series. Because whoever loses this is playing Miami for top 8.
I know.
So don't be surprised if one of these two teams gets dead last in this tournament. It is not impossible that Miami is locked in for Friday, and especially if it's that Toronto-Miami series, it was what we're thinking based on Gentlemates probably being favored in this one, that some weird stuff happens.
I think Gentlemates might be my favorite at the event. I just think when you're dominant at hardpoint like that, you get to land, you know, obviously you've watched a ton of VOD, like the search can improve pretty quick. And I feel like their search hasn't even been that bad. So yeah. And when we talked to Sib in the interview, I thought you said something kind of interesting. And, you know, he was saying how they had to adjust the way they practiced in Overload because, you know, Overload from practice to scrims was like, or from matches to scrims was like a stark difference in the way that people played it, like way slower in actual matches. So I think, you know, now with that experience of they lost like, what was it, 3 overloads in a row. They were the team that got parked the bus on first. I think with that experience and like talking about it, we're rewatching it over, their overload will be stronger. And I think they're positioned to win this event. I definitely hear your concerns about like the inconsistencies, some of the individuals, but like, bro, everybody has that right now. It's early in the title. And it hasn't mattered in terms of slaying because what are they in hardpoint? They're 10-2 in HP. So
yeah,
for me, slaying's not a massive issue. And they just played these guys. It did go game 5, but the searches weren't close, bro. 6-1, 6-3.
this is a real tricky series, bro. I know we haven't talked about Toronto yet, but like those guys have been in these spots quite a bit. Like that is a tough draw for Gentlemates getting the top seed to play the Toronto guys. But let's say some freak happens in this series and Gentlemates do find themselves on the wrong side of it. Like, of all the teams getting dropped down to losers, they're the one I expect them to lock in the most and salvage an event. So,
well, let's talk about Toronto then, since we're already here. Yeah. So you kind of already started with a little bit. This Toronto team, bro, 1-4 last 5 series. Y'all can see it over here. 3-0 loss to G2. Game 5 to Mates, where they won 4 rounds collectively in S&D. Game 4 loss to Carolina, and then obviously before the break, the Game 5 loss to FaZe. I talked about it. We all did a lot last year with Toronto. Their search fell off of a cliff, and that's what was stopping them from like winning events at the end of the year last year. And for them, it's the same sort of situation. And you know, me and Chance talked a little bit about this, you know, in the last broadcast. We were doing it from home, but they just play such a predictable like style of S&D. And Kleenex and Insight are both you know, underperforming in the game mode right now. And I think it has a lot to do with like just they have too many of the similar play styles of Joe, Riao, and Kleenex in search right now. And theoretically, like you look at it on paper, you're like, this should work great. You know, 3 guys who can make plays and get out with their life, but it's just leading to people being uncomfortable right now. And so for Toronto, what do you think they need to fix in order to come in and actually have a chance at this event? Because their search is second to last in the league, Ben. It's only behind Vancouver at the moment.
right, because they have played so much Scar recently, and then when I watch them play Scar, they don't do stuff together. It's a lot of like Real go middle and try and find a pick on offense type stuff, and he hasn't always been successful at that.
They've only won Den. That's the only search map that they've won all year long. They haven't played Exposure or Raid.
So like their stats are going to be a little bit skewed in search because they played a lot of Scar. But like even on the Colossus we saw them play against Gentlemates.
Yeah.
They played a Den, I think it's Carolina and Thieves like earlier on in December.
Mm-hmm.
They just also don't play their mid rounds as good as some of the other squads. Like this team gets bloods, and that's the key thing for Toronto, where they can right side this. Like they're very good at finding an opening pick. The problem is they're not very good at closing out the round.
Yeah,
so they can clean that up. Look, the thing is that they can clean that up. I think they can battle and split respawns with, say, a Gentlemates. But like, do I trust him to ice up a game 5?
I don't know. I mean, you look at this team though, and it's like,
bro.
It's like a lot of these other maps, especially like near the bombs, are just like a little bit more straight up than I guess Den is. You can kind of like play the rap game back and forth, and you can really play island on it, which I think is what works for them on Den, right? And it's just kind of hard to kill Insight back. I mean, he's gonna be in the same spot every round. So 1, I don't think they're getting enough production from like their sniper. And then 2, just the way that they play S&D it's too basic right now. So I don't think that they have a realistic chance to win this event. You hopefully if you're a Koi fan, for your sake, hopefully I'm wrong, but I just think their search is way too far behind. Other than that, though, like the overload's been solid. Joe has looked like one of the best players in the game. I mean, coming into the last match, I thought he was the best player in the game until they lost that mini game. So they got to be a little frustrated in that camp.
Yeah, but again, if they were going to suck at a major, there's the one to suck at, and then try to improve from there. Because again, I agree with you. Of all like the good teams, the contenders, I mean, I think I'd give these guys even less chance than I would Carolina, to be honest. At this point,
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, just because they're
which is crazy to say.
Yeah, then like I don't even know if I've looked at their hardpoint map pool. Where are they at for HP? Yeah, it's solid. Like they play everything. The Colossus and Blackheart though, another one, like another team that's just struggling on these maps. Which this does not make sense to me at all, by the way. Right? Like with this roster, how in the hell are they not good at either Colossus or Blackheart? I mean, they got 250 to 150 on this one, this Blackheart, and they've lost back-to-back Colossuses. They're 1-3 on it.
Because they have the same problem they've had the last year or two, bro. They're really good at breaking hills. They're not great at rotating, bro. These guys they had the same problem last year and they got away with it because they were so good at breaking situations. But like early in the game, where people haven't min-maxed that all the way, this team is like not particularly great at rotating. And I assume if you go look at the rotation stats, I'm going to assume they're either like average or below average in that stat. And
yeah, I hear you on that.
Trouble.
I just take that with a slight grain of salt because the maps that they're bad at the map they're bad at is like Colossus and Blackheart. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like Blackheart is a rotation heavy map, but still you get so many opportunities. And theoretically, if you're a really good breaking team, which numbers wise they are, but if you're really good at that, you should be good at a Blackheart or Colossus, like fast pace, re-break, reflip, and that hasn't been the case. So I think they're like a little hard to evaluate, but in general, it's easy to look at their search and say if they fix that and get back to 500, they have a chance. But I don't see that happening this weekend.
And again, there's a bad draw because I cannot pick them against Channelmates. And then they got to play Miami, and we already know all of the history now in that matchup. And like that is a very quick way that Toronto can get dead last of this tournament.
Oh my God, Miami against Real elimination.
I'm telling you, like that is the most likely scenario, and that will be one of the best Friday matches in the history of the CDL. Because like of just everything that happened in the offseason with those two teams, just culminating into one of them getting dead last in Major 1 is just, ugh, man.
Oh, man. And you look at this team, it's so star-studded. Do you think it's too early to say with conviction? But from right now, do you think the decision to pick up Real and put Kleenex on the flex AR role, you think that was the optimal decision for Toronto? Because it's like, obviously they've looked solid, but does it look like they can compete and win majors over some of these other super teams throughout the year?
I'm still going to say it's probably the right decision because when these guys do play well, we've seen online that they're a very quick team.
Yeah.
And they can kind of play with that suffocating pressure. So I see the fundamental idea of what they want to play. They're just going to have a little bit more chemistry about them in search. And I will be surprised that it takes some time because of just how, like if Rayo was a slower search player, it's probably potentially a little bit easier to meld his play style. But he's like super aggressive. He was super aggressive last year. If you watched him play in Miami, like he's got that pokeball style in search, and you don't want to clip his wings too much.
You have to play around. You have to play around him.
They have to figure out how to play around him. And recently, like I said, we've been watching them play Scar, and he has been batting below 500 and trying to find blood.
Well, he's just trying to go plain every round, bro. It was his problem whenever Miami were so good at search last year, and he made a ton of plays. But he gets into this mode sometimes where he just he blacks out and he'll like make the same play in different font. And I'm watching the Scar, I'm like,
font
dude,
is crazy.
Seriously though, I'm watching the game, I'm like, bro, how many different creative ways can you find to just go plain, bro? Like that, that's actually how I feel.
Different font. I've never heard anyone use the phrase different font.
Yeah, bro.
That's a new one.
That's how it is, bro.
I think one is they got to stop playing Scar, bro. This is the type of team that should be able to break ankles on a Colossus, should be able to play a lot of different styles on raid. They have pretty good sniping ability. Like they should get off the like Scar train and go play some of the other maps like an exposure.
Or an
for
exposure,
example.
bro. Take mid,
Yeah.
like get Real loose in bottom window, right? Like I want to see them play some exposure, even like a raid. Like just get rid of Scar and hey, roll the dice from there. But I'm excited for this. Toronto was one of the teams I was most hyped for coming into the year. And they've just kind of let me down a bit. I was picking them to
but give them to the end of major too. If they're still having the same issues, especially the issues that plagued them last year, then we can have a combo about this rail thing. I just think one or a couple of these super teams we're going to have a tough go at the beginning of the season. They might be one of them, but with a bit more time at the end of March, I think they'll be where we expect them. The problem is that top 3 or top 2 again. Like, are they getting to a final? Because last year they were accustomed to making so many finals. I mean,
that's what we're talking about with these teams. It's all relative to like, will they get to a final and will they win, right? And for me, where I'm at with Toronto is I just can't see it happening right now. But Ben, we were talking about Riyadh earlier. The Riyadh Falcons are tied for the longest active winning streak in the CDO with arguably the best map pool in the league, which I'll pull up here for you guys in a second. Pred and Cell have been a monster duo. Both of them statistically are a top 10. They've been frying. Have they gone from dark horse to contenders / favorites coming into this event?
Favorite? No. Contender? Yes. And let me explain that. Contender because they have definitely shown the ability to grind out the series online. They have that ability when they're engaged, that they're effort gapping people, not getting too down in the middle of these series, and they're still going hard. So as long as they translate that to LAN, they're going to be a tough out. Favorite, the difference and the reason I won't put them in the favorite is that they have a player in. They have 2 issues I think could potentially be a problem on LAN. One is, Exit's never really been in this spot before, right? Like, you've gone to LAN with those teams last year. There wasn't that much expectation to win a series. Now, like, they're coming in. You're playing OpTic first series. And, like, you maybe think you're better than them right now. Like, there's a different level of pressure there. The second thing I would be a little bit concerned about with Falcons is, yes, they've shown a lot of, effort and grit and determination online. You just got to make sure when you go to LAN that you're doing the same things. A lot of teams have gotten tripped up on this in the past. They play comfortable online, and then you get to the venue and extra pressures are there, and people just aren't doing that. If they get away from that ball, what you're going to see with this team is they'll get exposed for the timings and the mistakes they make on a map, and especially against an OpTic, they will punish you for that. So I think they have a chance to win, but do I put them in the same category of like a gentleman or a FAZE? Nah.
I think I agree with most of what you said, and I think what you said applies heavily to Exnid. We've seen times where he can kind of lose it a little bit, make just a play you're like, what the hell are you doing, and then make one of the smartest plays you've ever seen next life. He's got to do a good job of like tempering his nerves in general, because they're gonna be playing OpTic first match in front of that crowd. That guy's gonna be dealing with a lot, so that's one part of it that he's gonna have to try to learn to control. But for this Riyadh team, and I'm really close with Clay, so I talked to him a lot about it. They're doing some awesome things on the back end, like the coaching staff over there with this team.
Yeah,
that I can't wait for him to like come out and talk about. I don't want to say it for him, but I just think that they're, like, to what Ben said, effort gapping. When you listen to their listenings, one, it's a mile a minute, right? It works for them. But 2, in practice, like, this might not be a roster you look at where you think like, oh, they're going hard. No, they are, bro. They got a lot going on in that camp, which is just why I have had so much faith in them, and why I've believed in them from early on. And they've shown that, and that's why their S&D and their overload has gotten so much better. Like, you can literally, like Ben, let's put it like this.
Yeah.
How many teams can you watch? How many teams can you watch right now where you're like, I can see their identity. Like, I know what, like, baseline, what they're going to be good at. And when they succeed, like, exactly. Like, that's what this Riyadh team is. Like, I can see their identity. I know how they want to play. And, they've clearly put in the work.
I will say if you scroll up to hardpoint on that, so don't set day range, set day range to, if you scroll up to hardpoint, you set it to stage 1. Top right, you're going to see that Falcons, the one way that this can get ugly for them is, let's say they are not as good at search of this event. People have them figure out the way they want to play. their hard point right now, I would say it's not flawless hard point. They make a lot of mistakes, and when you scroll through these stats, it backs up the fact that they're not particularly great at rotating and not particularly good at breaking. So to me, those are signs that they're not super locked in how they play that mode. And they were not a great game one team to split. That has been their biggest weakness. Is again, they've grinded these series, but they've gone off to a slow start in all these series.
3 and 4 on map 1.
Yeah, I mean that's not too bad, but what's their record in January in map ones? 3-1 in January.
Where do you see that?
Oh, it's 3-1.
yeah.
It's
1 and 2.
Were they 1 and 2 in January? So yeah, look, listen, it's good that they're able to close out these series, win some game 5s, but the hard point numbers are a bit concerning to me.
But
again,
then here's my argument to that.
If people
though.
figure out how they play Surge, like this is where it can get south for them at this event.
But like, if you're Riyadh Falcons, you look at every map veto process as in we're comfortable on basically every search. We're going to have an advantage. If not in both searches, guaranteed one. And then in hardpoint, they're like one of the only teams. I'd have to go through every team, but I believe they're one of the only teams that are elite at both Blackheart and Colossus. So they're guaranteed one of those in every series if you're the Falcons.
But here's the problem is, hold on. But if they play a team that beats them on Blackheart or Colossus, it's not looking good. Because
and you got to beat them on the other one. So it's like, and their search is great.
But their hard point outs, I will say, the map pool is not massive in hard point. They've been really...
It's not.
The exposures they played have not been great. The dens they played, I think those were later on, not as much early in the year, were not that good. Their score is not too bad. I think they had one really... Who did they beat? They beat a good team on score,
let's put it like this, though, Ben, because I hear what you're saying, and you can with every team.
Yeah.
In every veto process that Riyadh walks into, they are going to have an advantage over the other team. Right now, based on the data that we have and from what we've seen, in every single series, they will have an advantage in vetoes. So, like, for them...
Not in this series. You think in this series they do?
Yes, I do. 100%. What do you mean?
I don't know, bro. Because I think OpTic are much better at Blackheart or Colossus than they're letting people onto. And again, I think we
haven't even seen OpTic on Blackheart.
Damon won stream and talked about it.
You think OpTic are gonna play Colossus against Riyadh?
No, but they'll play Blackheart. If they beat them on Blackheart, it's fucking wraps in this series, especially if that's map 1.
So yeah, there'll be a Blackheart.
As long as OpTic don't scam and S&D and give Falcons.
Bro, think about this. All right, who watched the Gentlemates Riyadh match? Chat. Did y'all watch that match? Ben, you watched it. Think about what the Neptune was doing to them on that map. They were getting hoop mixtaped every time, 3-4 piece. It didn't matter. They still won. Like, they are actually legit. They were not playing well, and they won that map. Like, they're legitimately a good Blackheart team. So I don't think you could come into this and say, and listen, I'm not trying to sit here and glaze Riyadh. I just think that they're due a lot of credit from what people were saying to them early on. Like, this team is actually playing really, really well.
To summarize what I'm saying, I like Falcons, and I think that their effort will make their floor much higher at these events than I probably expected coming in this season. But there are a couple of data points coming in this event that raise some concerns that I don't know if I can sit here and say, yeah, they're like auto lock top 4 come weekend. Like, I can see this team. Yeah. I can see this team getting 6 purely on the fact that, again, like, I have questions about the hardpoint map pool. The S&D is maybe a little more 50-50 on land when people are focusing hard on individual matchups. We'll see. But, and to your point, I also won't be surprised if they come to this event, they beat OpTic, they give FaZe a good run, and suddenly this Falcons team is in winners finals come Sunday.
Yeah,
that's not going to surprise me either.
That's kind of what I was going to say is, like, listen, I'm not saying Riyadh are a lock for, like, getting to Sunday or going crazy, but just because their bracket is really hard, right? Like, they're going to be going up against OpTic in front of the home crowd. Right, it's gonna be a really, really hard matchup. Like, let's put it like that. But if they do win that match, which I think they profile well, they have an advantage in the veto process up against OpTic. If they play like they did online, they definitely have a chance to win it. If they win that game, they're in a spot to win the event. Yeah, we can move on past Riyadh.
Well, can I give one piece of advice though about the Falcons guys?
Yeah,
it's specific to this matchup, bro. Do not. People make this mistake versus OpTic all the time, bro. Don't come in this matchup wanting to play differently against OpTic, bro.
Yeah,
the minute you give these guys too much respect is how they're going to just bowl you over in the beginning of the series in front of the 5,000 people that are in that venue, and it's fucking GG's 3-0. They got to come in and play with the same level they were playing online, and especially try to punch these guys early in the mouth, bro.
Yeah.
You get that map 1, AG's going to be sitting there screaming over the other side of the stage. That's how you can get this, what I think is an upset.
So Ben, remember last year, a lot of times when we would talk about this Falcons team, you know, they would show like moments. Cred would like ultra slow down on land and like completely different. I don't know if that was just a product of like the roster he was on, but he's been pushing pace in these last couple of matches, and they've looked great. So I need him to play the exact same, to your point, and then I'd be curious to what they're talking to Exton about with like managing his nerves, because that's been something that's been an issue even in scrims and online matches. So those are the two big things for the Falcons that they got to focus on, in my opinion, in order to have a chance. I hope that match goes game 5, bro. That'd be electric.
I agree. I want to see this go 5.
That'd be lit.
And if it goes 5, I think I might have more confident in Falcons to close that one out. And
yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
I mean, anything's up in the air, right? Like, you know, if you're an OpTic fan, you're looking at that. It could just be one of those series where like Shotzi figures it out, right? And that would be the worst nightmare for the Falcons fans. All right, let's move on to the G2 storyline. What a weird stage, Ben. We talked about this team a lot. Preseason, it looks super good. Start off really slow. Estriel struggling. Skies are struggling. Skies figures it out the week before last. And this last weekend, Estriel was a dog. And they closed it out strong. I mean, they 3-1 FaZe. Maybe a little gift from FaZe in terms of the map pool and, you know, taking some risk in the overload. Nevertheless, you got to close it out, and they did. And then they 3-0'd Toronto. Like, that was an awesome performance by them. And Estriel was, what, plus 24 with the most damage. So talk to me about G2. Where are you at with this team? What's kind of your 1,000-foot overview of this roster right now?
I think the G2 team is probably one of the biggest unknowns coming in this event, because they have a couple of players that just haven't been in this kind of spot before, especially in winners bracket. And in specific, I think Mamba obviously is a rook. There's a big match against FaZe to play winners round 1. I think the hardpoint map pool is really interesting because everybody keeps playing them on Colossus.
I wonder why that is. It's got to be something from scrims that we're not seeing, right? Like, they must be slamming people on, like, what gets vetoed against them? I need to go to their team. Where do I find that at? It's on the scouting reports, right?
Yeah, what's been out of series a lot is Den against them. Den has been in only 6. Only one. Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's a map pool thing that we're not seeing in scrims. I do think, though, I have questions. Again, like, if you just square this team on Blackheart instead of Colossus, and you make them have to play a Den Exposer or Scar, like, are they losing both hard points in a series? Because, like, they've only won one non-Colossus hardpoint in January, and that was a Den against Falcons that went to, like, literally down to the wire. And I honestly think the Falcons kind of mega tossed that one. I think both teams actually kind of mega toss that map. So that's what I'm saying. Like, in hardpoint, it's like, are they getting a little bit of a map pool gift by everybody? And then when they get to land, they're going to struggle to just do one of hardpoints, and we'll see how good the rest of the control are to back that up.
So I wish Joe was in here, and I think he might be watching right now, but this is an ode to the great Joe DeLuca. Can you guys, any coaches in here can y'all ban what the other team is dominant at? That is the better way to veto. Get as good as you can at every map and ban what the other team's dominant. I'm looking at what teams banned against them. So we've had 3 Scars banned against them. But we've had 1 of every other map. That seems like that is jarring. That's what's happening right now. And that's the state of a lot of these teams. They have maps that they just do not want to play. And I hear you guys, you say they're good at Scar. Have y'all seen their Colossus? The map is named after Crimp. Like, legit. That's what we're all rolling with. So I think that's one major factor. But they must be in scrims, Ben. They must be slamming on Scar and Den for people to prefer that. But yeah, they're not in the worst spot. Like, what's their overload been? I think they're on a 2-win streak. Yeah, they're on a 2-win streak in overload, beating 2 of the best overload teams in the game. Estriel's playing well. They're just a dark horse. You never really know what you're going to get with this Minnesota team, honestly.
Yeah. I think this phase matchup can be interesting. I assume we're going to see different maps. Like if I'm phase, you get Colossus out of here, you get Raid S&D out of here. And then on the overload front, like you're probably, I don't know. FaZe haven't played a lot of Scar overload, so I'm not sure where they're at, but they may want to try to get that on exposure maybe. So I think if you're FaZe, it's like I think there's an angle to just like see if they can beat you on a black cart, see if they can beat you on like Scar or Den, because I think Rocker will probably not play FaZe on exposure. I would think.
I think Rocker will probably ban exposure, yeah, and then FaZe will ban Colossus. So we'll probably get like what, Blackheart and a Scar. And look at that. It's like FaZe look good on Scar.
I'm just concerned G2 lose that first map. That feels like a 3-0 to me. That's the first map is so key for G2. They have to show fight or try and win that map one, because I think FaZe's S&D has just been unbelievable. I know we'll talk about that more in a bit, but
yeah.
Listen, I think for G2, they're not going to be favorites in this match. If I remember, their opponent would be Boston, I think, for top 8, which is pretty doable. The problem is that they're then going to have to play probably either Falcons or OpTic to get top 6. I have a concern that unfortunately for G2, I think top 8 is probably where they're ending up in this.
Yeah.
I think.
You can never write them off, though, because I completely wrote them off in the last 2 series. I mean, they're just a very unpredictable team. And the reason they're unpredictable is because they have Estrio and Kremp, and it's like both those guys can take over a game. It's like their individual talent's ridiculous. And Estriol, like if you're getting that play from Estriol like you got in the last series, then yeah, they can beat anybody. Yeah. So enough about G2. Ben just brought it up a little bit. We're gonna talk about FaZe now. FaZe, in my opinion, have been the most well-rounded team to this point. They're top 5 in all 3 game modes, without an individual straggler as well. Everybody's playing well and stepped up their game. Do you think they have the best chance to win this event? And then also, Simp and Abuza are both top 2 in overall KD at the moment. 1 and 2, which I think is awesome for FaZe. Talk to me about FaZe. Your thoughts. You kind of went into a little bit.
I think FaZe and Gentlemates probably have the 2 best chances to win. My read on FaZe is that, to your point, I think they're really good in all 3 modes. They've shown really elite S&D ability, and I would go as far as say they're probably the best S&D team in the game right now. Hardpoint is good, but you can see potentially some of the issues in Hardpoint if sometimes the slaying is not there from draws in 04. But to your point, Abuza and specifically Simp have been unreal. And their overload is really good. And they have frustrated people, I think, with how they play the mode, but they haven't been unbeatable in overload. I think the biggest issue for FaZe for me is how this bracket got drawn. Because if they beat G2 and OpTic win, I just don't like that FaZe OpTic like matchup, like styles wise for FaZe. I think that's just when OpTic get going and play their game, it's not the style of COD that FaZe is going to have successfully playing against. So I think there's a good chance FaZe get in the finals, but I won't be surprised if they also lose the winners round 2 of this thing.
Yeah, I think FaZe are in a great spot. I mean, also, we talked about effort gapping. Feels that way with FaZe with just the turnaround that they've had. Especially in S&D, dude, they're 7 and 2 in search. We haven't seen an exposure yet, and we saw 1 raid, and it was around 11 in the mini game. I think they'll, like you said, I do think that they'll handle business in the G2 match and have a decent amount of momentum. But yeah, for FaZe, it's just like there's not any massive glaring weaknesses. Like the overload solid, like statistically, like they're number 1 in their runs as well, or scoring off their runs. They're 2nd overall run, so they're getting a ton of opportunities, and they're number 1 in scoring. That's awesome for Vegas. And then, yeah, their search has been stellar, right? Then you go to their HP. They play every map, Ben. So, yeah, this team is just so well-rounded, and they're in such a good position. If Simp and Abuza keep playing like that, then I could see them in a final for sure.
Bro, and they are right now in search. Raid aside, are converting first bloods at a
historic
90%. 90%. Yeah. I mean, it's early.
Did you see their post plant as well? Post plant, they're at 90% damn near as well. 90%. If they get a bomb down, they win in the round. Like it's literally
we should say they played a lot of Scar. They played a lot of Colossus, and they haven't scanned the situations in both those maps. Normally, those numbers historically have ended up in the low to mid 70s. If you're
What's
a
the,
mid
what do you think the
70s,
retake is?
probably like
50,
40%.
it's like 50% almost. It's like that's
mean,
like
it's just,
historic numbers. Like they're actually insane at search, bro.
and that's the thing is like, again, if the respawn slaying isn't always there this weekend and they play this way in S&D, they'll be able to grind out a decent result in this tournament, even if they don't win it, just because of how stellar their S&D is. Again, my only concern is just I don't know against like the really quick high firepower teams like an OpTic. That's the one style their team is gonna like really struggle against. I think on paper.
Well, they did a good job even in preparation, Ben, because like I'm looking back and like in the miniseries they played Blackheart and Colossus. Like, and obviously for many those seem like two maps that they would prefer. Obviously the Colossus one. So that was just a good decision in preparation because they looked decent at both of them. Like they lost the Colossus by 50, and then they won the Blackheart by 57. So like for them, their map all of a sudden has gotten a little bit bigger, and you feel a little confident leaving it in some of these series. And you know, we talked about it a ton. There's just so many, especially of the top teams, that just don't even play those. But yeah, FaZe are chilling, dude. Like you said, they can grind out a series or they can quick win it. Like if you make some mistakes, they're just not giving you that many windows for opportunity.
I think their floor right now is in a really good spot. Again, this event's so open and this season's so open that I don't want to make any guarantees. I feel like this team or that team's going to make a final.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was just concerned going in this season that Major One might be a little bit of an issue for them. I thought December wasn't particularly great for the team, but they've settled really nicely after the break and they just look ahead of teams.
What the hell's happening to your camera?
My camera just died?
It just glitched out, yeah.
Is it back now or no?
No. Now it is. Welcome back, Ben.
I don't know what happened there, but
yeah, I think for FaZe and even from like a roster construction standpoint, the way this game plays, like it does feel like that they have checked every box. Like they're just gonna be solid all year long. But I'm interested to see them at a tournament. We've said this, about FaZe for a while, and sometimes they get to that final and they fall flat. Different roster. But hey, it's time for us to make our bracket. So let me pull this up and show you guys. So I filled this in with the results from the last, like if there was a previous match with these teams, I put it in just for reference and then we'll adjust from there.
okay.
But so first one up, we'll start. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. We'll start Paris Gentlemates versus Koi. They just played. It was a game 5 win for the Gentlemates. Koi won a total of 4 rounds in Search and Destroy in this series. What do you think happens in this? Who do you think wins it?
Gentlemen, do you think this gets 5 or do you think it's a four banger? What do you think?
I'll go 4. I think Gentlemates take this one. I have not been super impressed with Koi, and Gentlemates are just they're the better hardpoint and search team. So like I got Gentlemates taking it. And I would genuinely be surprised if Koi won. Like actually, I would genuinely be surprised if Koi won. I do think this Gentlemates team's gonna get a lot better on land as well. And that's the first match, Ben. That's a banger to kick things off.
Yeah, it's a banger, and I agree with you. It's hard for me to pick Toronto. I will say this about this bracket prediction. You'll agree. I think in virtually every series here, like if the upset happens, it's not like 100% out of nowhere, like type of year.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I'd be surprised if Koi came in. If they win like a game 5 grueler, I guess like that's on the table. But Gentlemates have just looked stronger. All right, Carolina.
They need a Tobias Kleenex fuck you series.
Yeah, they need him to take over, bro.
Yeah.
Or just like a Jamie tweak series where he has the sniper out and goes like 15-3 in search, something like that. But all right, Carolina versus the LA Thieves. This was such weirdest series of the entire split. First 2 maps, like Thieves looked like they were underwater. The next 2 maps, they're like laughing, giggling, just slamming like they're playing a pub. And then, or the next 2 maps, and then game 5, Carolina tee up. Craze kicks things off to get his confidence back, and they win that map. So I think it's gonna be a close one, but I do think the experience of the Thieves will like reign true here and get them to win. I think they're gonna win in a game 5. What's your take?
I think I got Thieves. I'm a bit concerned because of how remote Carolina's team are, that they may be the most effective, by travel issues. And the last time we saw a team in this travel position was New York
Minnesota, right?
Subliners. No, I thought it was. Did it happen after New York Subliners at Boston a while back? Remember that massive snowstorm that happened
I
for the
do.
Boston event?
For some reason, I remember a Minnesota team getting stuck.
Maybe a Minnesota team did get stuck at some point. I don't remember it, but I'm just concerned with this Carolina team that if the travel here is a little bit mixy, they're just unfocused. They just come in a little bit lackluster in this one. But assuming that doesn't happen, kind of still think Thieves probably ice up Game 5. Like, they have to, right? They have to, right?
They literally have to, bro. And this match will be a banger. But all right, so I guess we're kind of in agreement there. FaZe versus G2. What you thinking?
I'm thinking.
I think FaZe will veto all the maps that they just played.
Well, they'll play Blackheart. I mean, if it's Blackheart, they play Blackheart and Colossus. I think it'll be like Blackheart and like Exposure or Scar or something. So I think I got FaZe 3-1.
I agree, but Ben, maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. Our FaZe, like, are they 2000 IQ? Was this by design?
Well, they already had 4 wins. They were already auto winners bracket.
This might have been by design. Like, yeah, let's get G2 up in here.
No, we talked about this. They're just. I know, but they're just a school of like, okay, we had 4 wins. We're auto winners bracket. Let's play the maps that we haven't played. Let's play people's best maps so we can get real reps in matches and like fine tune the edge areas of our game going into this event. So I think if FaZe play the maps that they should play here, yeah, I could see G2 like steal at a hard point or a controller, overload.
Yeah.
I think 3-0 is probably likely, but I think we should just pick 3-1. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I like that.
Unless you want to go to 3-0. Unless you want to go to 3-0. Because if there's any series that's a 3-0.
There's got to be one 3-0, right? And there's got to be one upset. Well, I guess OpTic beating Riyadh would be an upset. Technically. All things considered.
I don't know how to predict this series.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
I want to pick. I really, really want to pick OpTic. I really do. But they just they're just coming in such weird form in this event. And I know in the past they've then pulled up and looked like gods at an event, you know what I'm saying? Champs last year after looking kind of whatever at Major 4. They weren't awful at Major 4.
It's home crowd buff, Ben. It's significant.
Yeah, the only thing is bro, Falcons, MC has been in a lot of positions where he's just, after Cold War, FaZe has got booed at every event. So it's not like him being on the hated team is going to be that much. Clay obviously lives for that. Kiz lives for that. AG lives for that.
But Xnit does not. He's the guy who's, he's like the win condition here. I'm gonna. You know what? I think we should go OpTic here. I actually really want to get an accurate bracket. I think we should go. I think we should go OpTic here. And what do you think? You think Game 5?
Yeah, I think it's a real dicer.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about this one, bro. If Falcons come out and win map 1, poof.
Oh, everything's on the table.
This one could get this. This could be a. Listen, I know we might have some people that are out here. They like their picks. Well, right now, if you try to play a Falcons 3-0, let's see, what can you get for a Falcons 3-0? Plus 700?
7-1. Yeah, there you go.
I'm saying plus 700.
That's not a bad pick. Because if they do,
a bad pick.
Yeah, and if they'll get to pick, right? So they theoretically could do what is it? Team B gets map 1 pick and 5. Is that what it is? Or no? Team B gets what, map 1 and 3?
If you're Falcons in this series, this is a tricky decision. Do you want to pick Team A and try and put the coin on the table that we win map 1 and don't care about the S&D and don't care the overload?
I think you go into thinking you're a better search team, Ben. And so, yeah, probably. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. The key thing for OpTic in this series is they look so bad at Scar coming in this one. The last couple Scars they played were just complete bruh. They're just playing iso ball. I think that Falcons will probably ban Raid in this series. I would think. That will give OpTic an opportunity to play Den S&D, and I actually think they look good at Den. The last time they've only really played it twice. They played it, I think, against Falcons earlier this year, if I'm remembering correctly, and they played it against Vancouver. And outside that, they haven't played it at all this
We
way.
saw a raid. I thought that they're Riyadh's 2-0 on raid.
I just want this. I'm not sure if I would play the raid square up though. That has looked like every time I've seen OpTic play raid, like, and they played it against Minnesota and Miami, like the maps were.
Mercury's is really
The
good at
maps
that
were
map.
not, they were not blowouts, but like those are the maps where like their ARs are going to get comfortable. And like one of those is also a map, if I remember, where Shotzi was every round doing the stupidest shit imaginable, and they still won the map. So.
Well, that's how I feel about OpTic on Scar. Like Shotzi trying to go through Delhi and like getting picked, like just like throwing shoulders outside of Delhi front blue. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So yeah, if you're OpTic, you're probably getting rid of that, right? And then if you're,
it's an interesting one, Ant. I think OpTic are going to come in with a good game plan against Falcons, and Falcons have to respect that part of the OpTic matchup. That they're going to be really prepared in S&D. That's why if you're Falcons, I think maybe you take A and try and get that map won, and like let some energy out the building and let those guys kind of simmer. If you take it.
Yeah, that's a really good point because there's so much more going into this one. It's like against the crowd, settling the nerves. Yeah, I would probably do the same thing. And if they do win that map one, then this whole series is different. But I think we commit to this 3-2. We move on to elimination round 1. Koi versus Heretics, the match that we're definitely rooting for. This would be lit.
We haven't talked about Miami yet, but like they also look like they need a little bit more time in the oven right now. They're one of the probably more under-practiced teams in the league. And like it just doesn't seem like they have the cohesion yet. But there's a lot of like optimism in the way they play. I just don't think they put it together. I think Toronto probably wins this one, but the problem with this has now come from being just like a good team square up to like an actual rivalry match.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of emotion going into this one, especially because it's the first match against these teams on land. And like, yeah.
I think Joe just calls game here. I think Joe goes crazy in this particular matchup. I think, Real will too. This is just a pretty bad draw for Miami. It will be electric though. Renkor's been really, really good. We talked about the problems with Koi's S&D then, and like they got too many people who play similar roles. But on the inverse of that, on Miami, they need one of those guys who play that role, and that was Real, right? So until I guess Trakes or Metals can take that up or they revamp their play style from last year's search and just play a different style of S&D, it's going to be hard for them because that's what gave them an edge every series last year. They were so good at S&D, bro. And they're just missing that right now. I mean, Super's like a slower player. Same with Renkor, and Trakes and Metals just don't have that same finesse, right? So somebody's going to really have to take up that role. And I think in this one, Toronto Koi will be good enough to, win the S&Ds, and I just think overall they're a stronger team. I think, what do you think? 3-0, 3-1?
I'm gonna say
Miami's
3-1.
a good hardpoint team. Yeah, 3-1.
I'm gonna give Miami some respect, and then I'll have questions about whether they actually shake hands at the end of this one.
Maybe. Whoa, hold on. Was it the whole beef thing? Like it was the organization versus Real. Like because wasn't Real's thing like he wanted them to make more money? Like if he took more cash, it would have taken away from them. That was my understanding of that situation. Like shouldn't the players like be appreciative of Real?
The reason I think they might shake hands is because like a lot of the instigation recently in this has been from Gabe, aka Aroma, and obviously he's not necessarily playing. I don't think like Joe and Toby and Jamie and even Real, like I don't think they've said much. And Real, when he did say stuff, said that he loved the guys. He just didn't want to, if people don't remember the lore, like he was choosing between these two teams. Miami was willing to pay him a lot to stay, but he didn't want that to be at the expense of the other guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was honorable, right?
It sounds like the beef is more Miami ownership versus Toronto ownership and Real versus Miami ownership. So we'll see. But
all right, so turn noties on for Heretics and Koi, both their social accounts, Aroma and
Method's sick. If anyone's Method's sick, the coach of Miami. If anyone's gonna say anything on that team, it'll be him.
God, I wish we did like where we used to do the pre-match coach interviews. You remember those?
Bro, you know who I need to get on? Man, Vickle, if you're watching this, brother, like, listen, I need you in the watch party on
That would be
Friday,
lit.
bro, for this one.
That would be lit.
This is like the Vickle primo. We need a Vickle Pov on Friday if this match happens, because
Why did we move on
he's,
from those as production doing the pre-match coach interviews? Those were so good. We need to bring those back. I'm gonna bring that up.
I think they were. The problem is, I don't think, you want my honest opinion? This is
Yeah.
not to shit on the broadcast. I don't think the questions they asked were very good, and I don't think that they were needling the coaches in the right way to not just say like some just lame ass shit.
All good. I'll do
And
it
like
this time around. It'll be lit.
Yeah, and maybe that's just an unavoidable problem because coaches are just not going to want to give away the game plan. But I think what's more interesting to me is just trying to get a quick I like when the NFL does it, bro. You don't need to ask two questions.
Yeah.
Get a quick 20 seconds with the coach like after map 2 is honestly probably way more valuable than that, comment before the series.
Yeah, like you guys are down 0-2. You've come back from this. Like, dude, those things are great. Just like hearing what's going on in the camp. I would love to do that again. I thought those were awesome. Regardless of how you felt about whatever, whoever's doing it, whatever questions it was just nice insight to see them talking about it. But all right, Carolina versus the Surge. Yeah, Carolina, I think will fight tooth and nail in this series. I do not think they get whooped, and then they're gonna be furious coming into this one. I think that they will slam the Surge if they're in.
That's
spot.
a hot 3-0. Vancouver looked terrible
Yes.
against FaZe on Sunday.
Terrible. Okay, let's do this next elimination round then. Wait, no, we got more down here.
We still got more down there.
G2 and Boston, kind of a banger series. I think Boston are a little bit better than what they're letting on. Purge was underperforming, not playing well at all. But I feel like this Boston team, like early, they showed life. They just kind of fell off, bro. Let's see. They lost a couple of game 5s. They went game 5 with the Thieves. Yeah, actually, what are your thoughts on this Boston team? Let's see. They're 7-7 in Hardpoint, 4-3 in Overload. Map pool's decent HP. For me, whenever Chris has asked me about it throughout this last 2 weeks, it's just the whenever they were at their best last year, the sub duel was so good. Like it's like Snoopy's or Purge is making plays, Snoopy's finding kills, and they started to win their controls. And this year, we're seeing Cammy play well. Like in the last series, Cammy played really good, and it hasn't mattered. I think you just need Purge and Snoopy to take a step, and I don't know if they're gonna do that coming into Major 1.
Yeah, I don't. Boston is such a weird team. They just have not looked good in January, whereas G2 has, and they played earlier this year, and I think Boston beat them in a game 5. Maybe we get a deeper series. Boston come in with some grit. I just can't pick them in a series right now, bro. I can't. They're playing just. There's bad individual performances. The team play at times hasn't been that good. Like Snoop's not like a hard carry right now. I don't know,
Nasty's front, like Nasty is one of the, like before their last match, I believe he was like top 5 or something like that. He was balling like in multiple game modes, and Cammy's been having like takeover maps, dude. Like to me, it's not an AR problem.
But Nasty's like, this is gonna be a deep bag pull. But Nasty's like in a position that like Aqua Yuli used to be in back in the day, like in packs, where it's like, bro, this guy's dropping a 1-2 and his teammates are just giving him absolutely nothing, and this guy's in war, bro.
The subs are not on the same page, bro. This Boston team last year was so good. Like, and you look at it, you're like, get Nasty for Wake, they should just be better. It just has translated. And even when we interviewed Nasty and he talked about it a little bit, he's like, dude, it's like one small thing every series. Like he said, we're so close. And so maybe they'll get over that hump coming in. But right now, I can't in good faith pick Boston to beat G2. Riyadh versus...
I'm not going to sugarcoat it, though. Like Purge literally is averaging a .83.
Oh no, he's been ass, bro.
Like he just, I love Purge.
This is Purge.
Like he's just got to play better.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, Caesar's also down there in a .87, but at least we saw Caesar have a really good series against FaZe. Yeah. I can't recall a series this year where Purge has had that, and last year he had those. Purge has never been.
Purge is #1 in damage for 10 minutes though, so we can give him that.
Yeah, he's just not. You just gotta finish your kills, like because last year, look, even last year, like he wasn't dropping bombs, but like he had matches where he's dropping a 1-1.
Yeah,
we just haven't seen that yet, and that would give this team a bit more life.
No, for sure. It's like Overload and Hardpoint, and like we said, like when they were playing well last year, he was making plays, like cerebral plays, and they were in like advantageous situations. Not the same. Riyadh versus Cloud9 though. Cloud9's a weird team to me. I actually do feel like they're way better than their record, but we talk about it's been all mental with these guys for the most part. I don't think that changes here. I think even if we do go to a game 5, which that would be the only way I could see Cloud9 beating the Falcons, I have way more faith in Falcons to take that one. Are you on the same page here?
Bro, the problem with C9 is they battled in a couple of these series. The thing is that their overload is still not that good. They're probably one of the worst overload teams in the league. And yes, they've shown some prowess in search, a lot of that on Colossus S&D. Like, I'm just think Falcons just bowled them over in this one.
Yeah, this went game 5. They played each other last weekend. Yeah, Riyadh won 250 to 130 on Colossus. Gotta imagine that's out of here. Round 11, Cloud9 won. Overload. I think I remember Riyadh getting off to an early lead here. Where they won that, and then a 6-point loss on Den.
The Den was the worst hardpoint Den I've ever watched in my entire life. Absolute drunk bar fight between these two teams. I was joking with MC afterwards. I was like, MC, that map was fucking terrible. I don't know what either of you were doing, but then they cooked them game 5. So look, maybe we get another T9 battle game 5, but I think if you're Falcons, bro, just people got to stop playing Colossus S&D against C9. Just play them on other maps.
Because if you get rid of that, what do they even have? They have Den. That's it.
They've played pretty good on Den. I think they're like undefeated.
Oh my god, these guys have a 35% win rate on defense. That is atrocious.
They've just been a lot of it's driven by bad game 5s. Bro. Like they just pulled these game 5s and they're just heads down, like head gone.
The funniest thing here is like just the difference. The 11% retake win, Ben, and then you go to FAZE and it's 50%. Like that is absolutely insane difference, like in levels of play.
I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it. I love Ben Beans, nice kid. I love his personality. Unfortunately, this lack of ice has been like a common function of like all the teams he's been on, and he is someone that wears his emotions on his sleeve, but he's just not. Maybe that's just preventing him from really locking in at the end of these series. I think C9 have to show life, or this shit is getting blown up after this event, bro.
They have too many of those players, bro. Like Max, like that too, where it's like he just randomly is like the best player in the game, and then he's falling off the map. Bro, what is going on? Like that team is
Marcus Afro has not been that good in January after being good in December. Like, And Ben's been great in S&D with the sniper, one of the top snipers in the league. You put a AR in his hand and respawn. It's been real tough. So I don't know, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to elimination round 2. G2 versus Riyadh. I would pick Riyadh here. Once again, I just think they're a stronger team. I'll give them a map. And then Koi versus the Ravens. Banger matchup. I think this is a matchup that is probably like. Let's go look at this head-to-head.
Bro, this bracket I'm telling you, bro, these top 8 games are insane if we get these, bro. Because, oh my God, if one of Toronto, Carolina gets top 8.
So I know Carolina won this, right? But if you really think like matchup-wise, it's actually kind of a hard match for Carolina because Koi's also good at Overload. And like, let's see, what maps are they good at in Hardpoint? What are we? So last time we got a Hardpoint Den in Blackheart, Koi dominated the Den. We probably see that again. For Carolina, you're probably getting rid of Colossus, right? Maybe not. Maybe we see a Colossus square up here. Both these teams are 0-4, 1-3. You might try to gamble. Yeah, this is kind of a hard series to predict.
This is one where I think if you are Toronto, scroll down to the overloads for Minnesota or for Carolina, sorry.
Yep.
Where as good as Toronto is, say on Den, do you want to play Carolina on Scar? Where they
because you just saw them get 7-0'd.
Yeah, because you just saw them get 7-0'd, but they did look good on against Gentlemates.
Probably not. You probably square up on the Den.
Or you play Den, which, yes, Toronto's been really good on Den most of this year, but I feel like the last couple of Dens we saw Carolina play on this map. I thought they actually seemed to have an understanding of how to play on the map. So
Well, they played Scar and they lost it. I think we might see Den in this series.
this could be a triple den.
It's gonna be triple Den and then Blackheart again.
And that might benefit Toronto. If we see triple den, that's a Joe Deceives play. So I'm gonna say probably Toronto this series. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm with you there, and it's not even a slight at Carolina.
This is a real 50-50 one, bro. I know for a fact if this pops, I'm gonna get great looks on the squares because you could do team picks now and prize picks. This is a slammage for me, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. It absolutely could be. Dude, this bracket, yo, the way these teams are playing, the parity in the league is listen. You never know going into it, but this event could be insane.
You know what I'm saying? Like some of these like late Friday, early Saturday games, like the weekend will be lit, obviously. Yeah. But like, bro, normally that like last match on Friday, first match on Saturday, or like whatever matches, depending on the year, like they're kind of blowouts. This year though, because there's like 7-8 solid teams, like these top 8 matches are nuts. Toronto and Carolina and G2 Falcons, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing for like a Friday. And then all right, Gentlemates and Thieves. Another like coin flip, but I think Gentlemates would win this. I think they're the better hardpoint team. I mean, I'm not even
3-0.
Yeah, I think they're a better team. I'll give Thieves a map.
I personally, when I do my video, I'm not giving them a map. I think they get cooked.
No, I want to get map counts right, so I'll roll with the 3-0 there. And then FaZe versus OpTic. I think FaZe might be a little too well rounded for OpTic right now.
Personally, for me, I would take OpTic in this one. There's just the one matchup for FaZe that I'm just worried about, bro. If you want to pick FaZe, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go FaZe here. Game 5, round 11. Simp versus Shotzi, bro.
We're just repeating MLG Anaheim from fucking 7 years ago at that point.
OpTic go down to losers. It's okay. We get another OpTic game on Saturday. I think OpTic will beat Koi. I think. What do you think? If it's an OpTic Koi matchup?
I think this this could also be triple Den, which would favor OpTic and not Toronto. But if OpTic looks shaky on Den, I can see how maybe Toronto win this. But I gotta go OpTic.
For the event. Something real quick. Like OpTic will just have this will be one of the series where OpTic will just look at it and be like, okay, well, Search they have the world is their oyster versus Koi. Yeah, if the Search problems continue for Koi, then OpTic will take this pretty easily in my opinion. And then Thieves versus the Falcons. Can I just give one more
thought though before we move on this Toronto thing real quick? Mm-hmm. Like, I will say the reason that I want to take OpTic in that one is I feel like OpTic can neutralize Joe, but the Joe pop off versus OpTic angle and they get frustrated is how I think Toronto potentially upset this here, or Real S&D masterclass type shit, because I could definitely see that happening.
With how shaky OpTic's
S&D has been.
Yeah, that one will. Yeah, I think OpTic will win that. Thieves versus Riyadh. I got Riyadh, bro. Ooh. I got Riyadh taking this one. I think it's a good matchup for Riyadh. I think they're annoying to play against, and I think that their map pool directly counters everything about Thieves. You go to Thieves and you go to Riyadh. I'm pretty sure Thieves are.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think Falcons win this one. It may go to 5, but this is like exactly what I'm talking about with Thieves, bro. They need to lose a series like this. Those guys, like I said, I just think they're everything about those guys the last couple of years, for the most part. I want to exempt. No, I'll include Ken a bit in this combo too, but I just think their heads are in the clouds. They kind of love to smell their own farts. Like, this is a type of loss in a event where they get sixth, and it's like, all right, bro, we know what's required now. We got to lock in. Because I agree with you. I think Falcons are just all around a better spot than they are right now.
But they just counter.
Even though Thieves should win purely on talent in this matchup, I feel like
you'll smell their own farts was a good quote.
Yeah, they like to smell their own farts. Like I'm listen. Again, and I'll repeat what I said at the beginning of the show. What Ernie was saying on stream, I don't know if he was half trolling the other day. It's possible he was
roasting the game. I saw that clip. That's concerning for sure. Before an event, that's a problem.
I've never been you and I both know, like, from being behind the scenes, when people just don't like the COD they play, it's hard for them to do the extras and enjoy doing the extras. And again, this is how they lose to a Falcons team that like clearly is having fun playing with each other right now.
Yeah. Falcons vibes are through the roof. And you're telling me these guys are be coming off of 2 wins in a row right now, playing LA Thieves who just got bumped down by their former teammates. Give me Riyadh. OpTic versus Riyadh. This would be a rematch from round 1 where we have to go in game 5. Yo, bro, this is the way this bracket shakes out.
I think if they rematch, I think OpTic would beat them now.
Yeah, it'd probably be swifter if OpTic are in this position.
Which honestly, if you're Falcons and you get 4th to this event,
fine.
Honestly, I think you'd absolutely take that coming into this season. 100%. Absolutely take that.
And then Anger, Ben.
You said you're doing 3-0. You're giving out a hot 3-0.
Well, yeah, because I just know how these things go. You get OpTic on a Sunday in front of that home crowd, jam-packed arena.
Yeah.
Riyadh Falcons are feeling comfortable and a little content with a top 4, right? Messages coming in from the manager. Hey, Clay, good job, man. Well done. Exnit's like, whoa, top 4. Fred's like, I'm fucking back, dude. MC's vibing, maybe a little steak dinner, celebrating a little bit. Come in, whooped. That's exactly how that'll play out. That's exactly. First match on Sunday, 100% that's how it plays out. Trust me, I have been here before, bro. They'll still be hungry. Don't get it twisted. But it's just the OpTic team on a Sunday. It's a different beast. Gentlemates versus FaZe, though. Absolute banger. I would go Gentlemates here.
Did these teams played each other earlier in the split?
Yeah,
didn't
early.
they? Unless I'm tripping.
So. I think
and I think FaZe won it, but it was like a pretty. Did they play in this? I think they played December, right?
I got you right.
They did, and FaZe I think nestled them. I think FaZe nestled them in the series. They won. Yeah, I remember how this went.
It's a 6-0 with the 6 first bloods in a row, game 5.
Yeah,
that's
so
what that was.
So it was a comedy early game series where both teams just looked terrible in one of the game modes.
Yeah, this was, Ben, look at this. 6-3, 6-0, 6 first bloods. This was such a weird series. And they blew them out in the hard point. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's so hard to predict this one. We'd probably get similar maps where they play exposure. Let's go to overloads. These are 2 teams that actually will play exposure. Looks like they just auto veto Scar, so.
It would be double. It won't be a triple because I think FaZe don't play exposure as anything else. They're about to pull that out of their bag at this event.
That's what I mean. It'll probably be double. So we'll probably get exposure overload again. FaZe the only team that have that many reps on that. FaZe have played exposure 4 times. I don't think I've seen any team play it that many times.
Yeah, they the last time we saw them play it was versus Cloud9, and they absolutely throttled C9.
Yeah, and they lost.
I mean, but like even when they had a couple losses earlier in the season on exposure, and like one was that insane Thieves comeback where Abuza lagged out in overtime.
Yeah,
I think the other one was also a close one. Like they haven't. The thing with FaZe is like I don't think they're like blowing people out in these matches in overload, but the concept of how they want to play is good. And we do have to kind of talk about even on a map like exposure, you can't always predict all the spawns in overload. There's just going to be a little bit of an element of like RNG, unfortunately, how that game mode plays out. I think I'm going to go Gentlemates probably in that winners finals. What do you think? You going to go FaZe?
I think I'll go Gentlemates too, just because Gentlemates search like low-key isn't that bad. And like you're looking at this, if you're FaZe, it's like you probably have to ban exposure coming into this one, and then Gentlemates will get to pick a raid maybe. Yeah, I think there's opportunity here for Gentlemates, and I think they're just like the better hardpoint team. So, and I mean, in their matchup, you saw too, they blew them out in both the hardpoints. So I'll go Gentlemates in a game 4 for them to get to the grand final. FaZe OpTic, Ben, elimination final. Thoughts?
If this goes to another game 5, are we saying FaZe win both those game 5s, or what are we thinking here? Because if we say OpTic, then we're just like OpTic kind of figured out their game and it just kind of clicked when they got to land. And
I think FaZe would probably win again.
But it's just like I also think FaZe. Here's the thing: is the Vancouver guys were really good in this spot last year. For what it's worth, it's like, yeah, I know they for whatever in finals,
That's
but
a
they were
good
also
point.
really
They
good
were.
in. They were really good in losers finals after they got absolutely boop to winners finals or lost a close one. So
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, I'll go FaZe here in a game 5, and then bam.
Wow, if we get two FaZe OpTic, we get two FaZe OpTics in one event is
be the best event ever. I mean, if this is the bracket, this would be the greatest event ever.
Greatest major I've ever seen in my life. Like I just.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question now is: do we think in the best of 7, where it is 3 S&Ds,
yeah,
2 hard points and 2 overloads, does that neutralize Gentlemate's potential strength in this matchup a bit?
100% it does, yeah, for sure.
And then the next question is: there are 3 players in this matchup who batted 0 for a million last year.
One of them's getting it.
One of them is getting a dub. One of them is putting one on the board. Is it Neptune or is it 0-4 Nabuza?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, bro, I mean,
it's tough, man.
You look at the series and you kind of just want to go, Simp's gonna win, right? But it definitely favors FaZe in a best of 7. Like they're gonna have an advantage versus every team. But it just just doesn't always play out that way. Like if Gentlemates come in and you know both the hard points are just a lock. Yeah, I mean you can go either way. I think I would trust going into I mean it would all depend on how all their matches go, but I think I would probably trust FaZe a bit more, Ben.
I'm going to test it. Dan Gossi in grand finals, chalk it. I mean, yeah, Dan also, up until last year, was 0 for a million in finals and didn't play particularly good, I think, in that first event that they won. I don't remember if Dan played well in Major 4 finals last year. I probably would go FaZe, right?
Yeah, I would go FaZe. I think FaZe would take it. So
it's just, bro.
4-1, 4-2.
People are gonna call us FaZe cheesers when someone screenshots us and posts his bracket. You and I got to preface, so it's like, this event could be any combination of teams in this finals, bro. Like, I won't be surprised if Falcons is in a final. I won't be surprised if these pull up and actually have good teamwork and make it to the final. Like, there's so many realms of possibilities at this event. Whereas the last year, 2 years, it's been like 4 teams, some combination of those. It's probably in the finals. Maybe one team upsets, get a good bracket draw, and they make it to top 3 and get bobbed. But
yeah,
what do you think?
You could literally, I agree with everything you just said, bro. Anybody can, like right now, this is the most parity we've ever had. There's like 6 teams I could really see, maybe 7, like being in the grand final. So it's like, who knows what's going to happen? And for this one though, I mean, this is all us just forecasting and projecting and talking about what they've done so far. And in a best of 7, it's just better for FaZe. And I do think FaZe have shown, they've had the hardest split in my opinion. And they have the top 2. They've had the hardest split strength of schedule, and they have the top 2 players statistically in the league. And they've been balling, and they're the best search team. So it gives them a lot of edges when you're predicting series. But typically, it doesn't play out how we predict.
The one thing that always happens in these is that we think a team's good at this map, they come into this and then they suck at that map at LAN, and it makes a big. So that's why like Colossus. The funny thing about the way the map pool is, and I wonder if it'll continue throughout the year as they add and remove maps, right? Fringe maybe coming or Meltdown coming in, is like you're probably going to get one of Blackheart or Colossus in every series, and you're going to get one of the slower hard points in every series. S&D. Like you're gonna get one of a Scar or Colossus, but for one of those you're gonna get like a Den, probably in every series. Like you got to be good at the different styles in each game mode. It's not all the same, you know. Hard point and search especially.
Yeah.
So which team's gonna master that at this one is probably the one that wins.
Yeah, and then they just have a lot going for them. I mean, in respawn, 04 looks better this year than he did last year. And Abuza's sniper, would you say he's the best sniper in the game right now? I think I would. Loses sniper.
He's got to be. He's got to be up there, bro. He's got to be up there. I said before the year that, and I got punked for this. I said Abuza has a good chance to be like a first-team All-Star player this year, and right now Right now, he's playing at that level.
He's
right
100% playing at that level. Yeah, he's first team All Pro right now.
You can argue it might be. I mean, Dan, I think, is in that convo, but it's some combination of him, Dan, and Merck are probably the two ARs in that convo. But
I honestly, when the trio was splitting up, I didn't think that, they were going to be able to, get a team that would play at this level this early on. Like when they made this roster, I didn't think they would be this great early, especially at some of the things that FaZe was traditionally great at, like dominating S&D. That's typical to that camp, bro. Whoever was the vision behind forming this team, but now they got to do it on land, bro. Got to do it on land.
I think to what you're talking about with Falcons, and I think with respect to FaZe, we talked about it a bit in the preseason. They're just a professional outfit. They're a team with these combination of 4 players. Like, I don't think that they're getting on and not trying every day. I do think probably picking up a Luka in December when they were in a little bit of an iffy spot is also probably a little bit of a motivating factor too. I think Crowder and them, the guys that are run this camp, Paul and his brother Eric, I think they know by now kind of what they want, the culture they want to bring here. And look, I do think the combination of players that are here, eventually Simp and Boozer are going to have a bad event, and I think this team will get like 6th at some point this year. But I thought this might be the event where they get to 6th. I didn't think they would come into this, and I'm going to be honest. Let me go and bet on 365 right now.
Are they the favorite? Yeah, let's go to odds favorites. Let's see.
I think Gentleman's. So it'd probably be.
Who has those numbers that I can pull up on stream?
Probably this link.
Yeah, drop it in the.
I put it in the.
I'm on my.
Is that low?
No, I'm on another PC. Remember?
Oh, do you want to send you a Discord?
Yeah, send it to my backup. I'll message you real quick. Here, bam. I just messaged you. Yeah, let's take a look at the odds right now.
Yeah, let me know if that loads. You may just have to go to esports and then Major 1 to get to load, but
yeah, it's loading. And then I will pull this up. All right,
you go to Major 1. You go to Major 1 features to win outright.
Yeah, it loaded. So guys, these are the current odds for teams to win. So right now, Gentlemates are the betting favorite, then FaZe Vegas and OpTic. Wow, Carolina's at plus 800, huh? So they're what, 5th? Thieves plus 400.
Falcons are the 7th longest.
You know what? I don't.
7th shortest as well.
Yeah, but
which is not crazy.
It's not crazy because like I could see them making a run. I can't see them like. I guess I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Go to. You
but
can
like
also
a Gentlemates
see
Falcons best of 7. Like, who are you really gonna pick there?
You can also go to stages of elimination, by the way. This is why I like 365, because they actually have a lot of ways that you can play this. Because Falcons, they have is plus 800 to make losers finals.
What's this?
Minimum, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is the stage in which they get eliminated. Sorry, this is not like.
Yeah, I'm looking. So
yeah, you can also do 2 final, which will give shorter odds for a number of the teams, but.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's pretty similar. They have Koi a little bit higher. Take a final. Who else we have?
Yeah, but that's probably. I assume that's based on historics because the Toronto guys were like getting 2nd and 3rd.
We might be absolutely dialed. Didn't we have? We had FaZe winning, but we had G2 and FaZe in the final. OpTic 3rd. We had Riyadh a bit better than what they're projecting.
I wonder if we think Toronto. KOI elimination round 1. Oh, they already have this baked in on them potentially losing to Miami this snow.
God, I'm fired up for this event, Ben. I hope I can make it. I hope I
You'll be good, bro. I'm telling you, at worst, you're getting in early on Thursday morning, no rehearsal, straight to the venue.
Hopefully, I get in tomorrow morning, man.
Ant's getting a police escort from DFW so he can
Get
make
me in there, bro.
You can make like what 12:30, I think. Locals when like pregame starts.
Oh, that's when it starts. Oh yeah, we start earlier. We start 1:30 is the first match Eastern. So.
Actually, no, 12:30 is first match. So you guys usually do like a full 30-minute pregame.
Yeah, it's 30 minutes on Thursday.
Pregame. Yeah.
Well, all right. So. Well, I appreciate you finding a spot to do this from, guys. We had to pivot. We had to figure it out. Luckily, Ben is tapped in, dude, and he's got different spots he can go to, so we're able to make it work. Fire episode, Ben. Good shit, dude.
Yeah, I think great episode. Obviously, we'll try and reschedule the Hector thing. I mean, you and I are currently both going to Birmingham, so maybe we
Yeah,
do that in
yeah,
the
that'd be
UK,
fun.
or we do it in Atlanta or something else. We'll figure it out
Well,
with
I
Hector.
might not be in Atlanta because of the birth of my child,
Oh, true.
but Birmingham, I'll be there, and we'll try to set some up.
Or and I, we're morons. Or worse, what you and I do is we fly down to Dallas midweek at some point in the spring.
Yeah,
We before obviously the birth of your child.
yeah, like
Get a Hector
early
interview,
April.
get some golf in, like you know what I'm saying? Like
That's a
make a
great
trip out of
idea.
it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we could film a couple different things with the teams down there because there's so many players there. So and
see if Nate Chuck can get us on PGA Frisco, you know,
I'm
like
in there, dude. And I need to get one more like good weekend in of golf before my son arrives because golf might be off the table for.
yeah, you're chalked until 27 then. You'll be hitting listen, you'll get your 27 time, the post child. We have a couple of friends in our friends group that are in that right now. They're in the post child golf buff because their
Yeah,
significant others not letting them play, and that's when you'll dial in. But yeah,
that's
no,
when
we
you lock
probably
in,
got like
dude.
a couple more of those weekends left.
Couple more. But I appreciate you making the time, Ben, figuring it out. And I appreciate all you guys for joining us. The people in the live channel, appreciate it. And then everybody, audio, make sure you leave a like and let us know your prediction for who you think is going to take Major One in the comments below. Curious to what everybody thinks. But yeah, good episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be recapping